So I think it's somewhat okay. Shall I start? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So firstly, we will cover that remaining
Yes,
topic.
sir.
Because of network issue, I couldn't complete it properly expectations. So that today I will again try to improve it. Okay. Now see, last time I drawn one simple circuit diagram to study this, what is mean by DC load line and the biasing of MOSFET. Is it visible? Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so be fast now. Okay, so see the same circuit diagram already last time I drawn. We can draw it like this also. Right. Now the same circuit diagram, I can draw it by considering the channel resistance of MOSFET, or I will going to replace that MOSFET in terms of its internal resistance, and internal resistance is nothing but the channel resistance. Last time already we discussed, we define it as small RC, that is the resistance offered by that channel, and the value of this RC, it will be dependent on what? Value of RC is dependent on what? No one? If my applied VGG, this one at the gate terminal over here, okay, I will draw it. If my applied VGG is of 0 volt, how much will be the value of that channel resistance? Be fast. Infinite. What I am asking, is it dependent on what? This RC is dependent on what? It is dependent on value of VGS, that is the voltage applied to the gate terminal with respect to source. Am I right? Yes or
Yes,
no?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, be fast. Now, the voltage across this device, that is nothing but voltage measured at the drain terminal with respect to source. See, if this VGS by this VGG is again 0 volt, how much will be the voltage across this RC? This device, it will be going to act as an open circuit, right now, because the channel resistance will be infinite, and hence the voltage measured at the drain terminal with respect to source, that is nothing but across open path, it will be equals to applied voltage. Am I right? Then whenever VGS is equals to VT, that is threshold voltage, this RC will be finite but very, very high. Correct? Again, as per voltage divider rule, so simple one, you can apply it like VDD, that means voltage at the drain terminal over here. How you can measure it? During our prerequisites, I already explained how the resistance is to be measured, how that voltage drop is to be measured at the node, which is formed by that two resistors, which is known as the voltage divider, and that rule is known as voltage divider rule. So how you will determine the voltage over here? That is nothing but VDD into the small RC divided by externally connected drain resistance plus small RC. Are you agree with this? This much will be the voltage at the drain terminal with respect to source. That is nothing but with respect to ground. Okay. So it will be non-zero. It will not be equal to 0, as well as it will not be equal to VDD when VGS is equals to VT. Are you agree with this statement?
Yes, sir.
Whenever that VGS will be equals to VT, that is threshold voltage, the resistance offered by the device, it will not be it will not be infinite, it will be finite, very high, correct now? And that's why the voltage measured across that resistor RC as per that voltage divider rule, that will be equals to VDD into that channel resistance divided by RD plus RC. In this case, I do not consider the resistance offered by that drain region, that is RD, as well as resistance offered by that source region. Both are of N type. That resistances are very small as compared to this RC, and that's why the net resistance of the device is RD plus RC plus RS. But this RD and RC are very, very small, and hence we can neglect it, and that's why we'll be going to consider for understanding purpose only the resistance offered by that channel, which is in between drain and source. Right? First case, whenever that VGS is less than VT or equals to 0, then the resistance is infinite. This RC is infinite, right? And that's why the voltage at the drain terminal with respect to source, that means with respect to ground, is nothing but the applied voltage, that is VDD. And whenever you will want to increase this VGS above VT, whenever that VGS is greater than VT, what will be the effect on VDS? It will get decreased below VDD, right now. Means, say, when VGS is equals to 0, when VGS is equals to VT, when VGS is somewhat greater than VT, and when VGS is very large than VT. What will be the effect on VDS? In first case, that VDS will be equals to VDD, then it will be somewhat less than VDD. Again, in this case, it will be somewhat more less than that of VDD, and in this case, again, that VDS will get more dropout as compared to VDD. Are you agree with this? By this simple rule, correct now? Now, that what is mean by DC load line? Already I explained it, that DC load line is nothing but, it is the line which indicates the maximum operating condition of that transistor. You can take that either transfer characteristic or output characteristic, and by that you can plot it. So as per that, DC load line, last time also I drawn it. This is the maximum condition of obtained output voltage, and that is VDS is equals to VDD. See, at this point, how much is the value of VGS? Shall I teach by using PowerPoint?
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Today we'll try by PowerPoint, and then from next lecture, I will try to improve this network issue. Okay, are you getting my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So see, the same thing I tried to show over here. You will observe this one as Q point, right? The value or the level of this Q point, it will be dependent on value of VGS. So many curves I shown here. This first curve below which by that blue color, that region is cutoff region below this line, where the respective value of this VGS is how much? It is equals to VT, threshold voltage. And whenever we will be going to increase that VGS from VGS equals to VT to VGS1, then the respective value of ID also will get increased, right? The next curve I shown here, VGS equals to VGS2, again there will be increase in ID exponentially. VGS equals to VGS3, again somewhat more increase in ID will be there, like this. And the last curve I shown by VGS equals to VGS max, right? Now see, through this resistor RD, whatever drain current will be going to flow through this circuit by the application of this VDD, okay, that ID will get limit. equals to IDSS in this case. It is not equals to IDSS. We have to show here as ID max, and that will be equals to VDD divided by this RD, right? The current flowing through this output port, that is from drain to source, this one is the ID, and that will depend on the value of this RD as well as the level of this VDD, right? If it is fixed, then the level of this or the value of this RD, it will be going to limit the value, maximum value of that drain current ID, which is flowing from positive terminal of this VDD towards the drain through the channel, will reach to source and will come back to VDD. It will be like this. Okay. In this output characteristic, I shown three different regions with different colors. See, this red region, it is known as the ohmic region, because in this region, whatever current will be going to increase, that will be somewhat linear in nature, and later on that current almost remains constant. I purposely shown here the somewhat slope of this line in that saturation region. What is the reason behind that? That also we will going on to discuss later on. Generally, we are saying after this point for any curve, see, suppose for this point, later on current remains constant even if the applied VDS is increased. But purposely here I shown with somewhat slope that we will discuss later on. Okay. Now again, one more thing that you have to remember. One point I shown here, that is titled as VGS equals to VGS on. See, by somewhat different colors, I shown that curve. These values are given in the data sheet by the manufacturer. VGS equals to VGS on and ID equals to ID on. That means at the level of this VGS on, that device starts to conduct significantly. At VGS equals to VT, that device current is very, very small. Already that point we discussed during our previous lecture, right? So here VGS equals to VGS on, we can say minimum this much amount of get to source voltage should get applied for the satisfactory conduction of this device. Okay. The main point here is nothing but this load line, DC load line. Already I told DC load line, it limits the maximum operating condition of that device in terms of its drain current, that is ID as IDSS, and in terms of that VDS equals to VDD, is it? So see, if this applied VGG is of 0 volt, the resistance offered by this device between drain to source or that channel, it will be of infinite, and that's why if we try to measure the voltage at the drain with respect to source, then it will be equals to applied voltage, and that is VDD, right? Are you getting my screen as well as audio properly now? Or whatever?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Or whatever cursor position I am showing on my screen, is it visible to all properly? Then and then I can taught you. Okay. Now see, the value of this VGG, it will going on to limit the conduction of this device. That means it will be going to limit the value of drain to source current. If that VGG, that means VGS equals to 0, no current will be going to flow. That means it will be going to act as open switch or open circuit. If that VGG is equals to VT, high resistive path will get formed between drain to source because of that formation of very thin channel between that drain and source, and hence the current will be very, very small. The same thing I tried to show over here. Right? Now, this device being an amplifier, remember this one, being an amplifier, how much should be the value of that VGS, get to source voltage? It should be equals to greater than VT and less than VGS max. So see, these two are the limits, we can say, for this DC load line. The applied VGS, it should not be equals to this much, as well as it should not be equals to this much only. That is VGS equals to VT, right? Or when that VGS is less than VT, this one, whenever it will be less than VT, the device will get turned off. Means the device will going on to remain turned on from VGS equals to VT to VGS equals to VGS max, right? Then how much VGS should get applied being an amplifier? Being an amplifier means that device it should remain conduction within the saturation region only. It should not enter into ohmic region. What is the reason behind that? That also we will discuss later on whenever I will teach you that MOSFET as an amplifier in its common source configuration. Okay. So at this stage, only the thing you have to remember, this operating point, it should be within that saturation region. Within that saturation region means, say, from this VGS equals to VT, this cursor I am showing here, and up to over here. Okay. And hence, I consider it should not be towards ohmic region as well as it should not be shifted towards the cutoff region. Then where it should be at the center of that saturation region, or we can say at the center of that DC load line. Okay, and that's why I selected that Q point over here, right? Now, to have that operating point or the conduction of that device at the middle of that load line, which parameter or who will be going to decide that device should get operate at the middle? VGS, right now, as per our previous discussion. Then how much it should be, that VGS? So at this stage, you can say that VGS, it should be greater than VT and it should be less than VGS max, right? But exactly at the center means how much should be VGS? And that's why that VGS is known as a quiescent value of gate to source voltage, and it is denoted by VGSQ. Okay, that means the applied VGS, it is shown by that yellow colored, that trace. How much should be the value of that respective curve, constant value of that VGS to get this output curve, which is shown by yellow color? It should be equals to VGSQ, right? That means, again, in this case, we can say that VGSQ, it should be greater than VGS2. See, this curve, it is plotted by considering that constant input voltage, that is VGS equals to VGS2 and VGS, or it should be less than VGS equals to VGS3, right? Then how much is the value of that VGS2 and VGS3 so that we can finalize the value of this VGSQ? So this is the design part. And to design this complete circuit, to operate that transistor at the center of that load line is known as a biasing of that MOSFET. And the same thing I will be going to teach you today during our practical session, that is at 1:45, right? Timetable is already shared with you all. So remain present during our practical session, because today I will be going to teach you the how that biasing arrangement is done, right? For the MOSFET being an amplifier. Okay. So this one is, at this stage you can't understood. Okay. So we will discuss on this how to apply this VGG, right? So see, you will observe in this case there are two different DC sources. One is used to power the output port, that is VDD, to have non-zero ID, right? And another one is used as a VGG to set the value of that VGS equals to VGSQ, correct? That means two different DC sources we will require to set that operating point exactly at the center of that load line, right? Shall I take one example here? So just note down, if you have notebook and pen, if VGS equals to VGSQ equals to, for example, 1 volt, right? If this one is suppose 0.8, VGS2 is 0.8, and VGS3, if it is of 1.2, okay, VGS equals to VGS3, it is of 1.2, but as per this yellow color curve, how much is the requirement of VGS? It is less than VGS3 and greater than VGS2, and that's why we will consider that VGS equals to VGSQ is equals to 1 volt. Okay, are you getting it? See, without blackboard and
Yes, sir.
anything, I will try to teach you, but just try your max also. Okay. We'll consider that VGSQ as a 1 volt by this VGG, right? Or instead of 1 volt, consider it as a 2 volt, so that it will be somewhat simple for the understanding purpose. Consider this applied VG by this VGG is equals to 2 volt. Okay, right? Now, how we can set this VG equals to 2 volt by using a separate DC source, that is this VGG, right? And I will be going to adjust it to 2. That's all. And whenever I will be going to connect it at the gate terminal with respect to source, and whenever I will be going to turn on this VDD, what I can say, there will be a non-zero ID. And how much it will be? That current will be equals to IDQ, because the state value of that input voltage is VGSQ, right? Input get to source voltage is how much it is? It is VGSQ, right? And by that, whatever drain current will flow, that drain current is known as IDQ, right? Now, how much will be the resistance offered by this device between drain to source? It will not be infinite. It will not also equals to very high, as well as it will not be equals to very low. It will be moderate resistance, and hence, how much will be the voltage drop across this device between drain to source? If we try to measure the voltage over here by applying that input, which is equals to VGSQ, how much voltage will be there? And that will be equals to known as VDSQ. See, its respective value of VDS, it is shown by VDSQ, right? And that will be approximately equals to half of VDD. Are you getting it? How much will be the value of that ID? That is known as IDQ. It will be equals to ID max by 2. How much input voltage we are applying to set that operating point at the center? That input voltage is equals to VGSQ, right? And hence the obtained output voltage is also not equals to VDD, as well as it is not equals to 0. It will be half of that VDD. And that's why I written here VDSQ, that is approximately equals to VDD by 2. Are you getting it? Are you getting it? Yes or no? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now the question is how to set this VGG equals to 2 volt as per our this example, either by using a separate DC source at the gate terminal with respect to source, or is there any another possibility to set the value of this gate voltage equals to 2 volt? Just think on it and use the previous discussion or whatever the things we discussed during our prerequisites. What is the application of resistor? Can we use resistor as a secondary voltage source? And that is nothing but voltage divider. If you can recall, see R1 and R2s are there. Whenever that series combination R1, R2 is powered by somewhat DC source at the node of, or the common node of R1 and R2, how much is the voltage obtained? Today also we discuss it while studying the working of that MOSFET in the saturation region. How much is the node voltage which is formed by R1 and R2 with respect to ground? That is nothing but the voltage measured across resistor R2, right? And it is equals to, what is the formula? That is voltage divider rule. It is equals to VDD into R2 divided by the total resistance of that path, and that is R1 plus R2. Are you agree with this? Now see, if we are using somewhat VDD, for example, as a 10 volts, the same thing today during our practical session, I will go on to explain you by using our Proteus simulation software, right? So it will be again somewhat easy for your understanding purpose, right? So don't miss our practical session also. So see, if we are using this VDD equals to 10 volt, if I prefer here two resistors connected in series R1 and R2, and that node which is formed by R1 and R2, if I connect it to gate terminal, right? That means we have connected the voltage drop across R2 to the gate terminal, and resistor R1, it is connected to VDD, that is at 10 volt. So is it possible to obtain that node voltage equals to 2 volt if that series combination of R1 and R2, that is that voltage divider, if it is powered by this VDD equals to 10 volt? Is it possible to obtain that node voltage equals to 2 volt? Yes, it is possible by using that voltage divider rule. We will going to consider somewhat value of that resistor R1, and VDD is already we defined, suppose it is 10 volt, so that we can easily determine the value of that R2, so that that series combination R1 and R2, or by using that series combination R1 and R2, we can easily decide that node voltage equals to 2 volt as per our need or as per this example. Correct? And the same thing, that is design part, that I will be going to teach you today during our practical session. Okay. So see, there are two possibilities how to power that gate terminal to operate that transistor in the saturation region as well as at the center, that is by using separate DC source. And if separate DC source is used at the input side, that is to power the gate terminal, such type of biasing is known as fixed biasing. If you have notebook, pen, you can just note down it. The first type of biasing is nothing but fixed biasing, and the same circuit diagram is shown in front of you. Right? See, separate DC source, that is VGG, it is used to power the gate terminal. And second one, whatever I told, that is nothing but voltage divider biasing. If we remove this VGG and separate two resistors R1 and R2, which forms that voltage divider, if it is connected at the input and gate terminal is connected at the node of that R1 and R2, and if that R1 and R2 is powered by the same DC source, that is VDD, with respect to ground, you will observe in that second case, that is voltage divider biasing, we will require only a single DC source, that is VDD. Right? So that second type of biasing, that is voltage divider biasing, it is mostly preferred. Remember this one, because in that voltage divider biasing, no need of two DC sources, separate DC sources. By using a single DC source, that is VDD, we can power the gate terminal also. Right? Again, one more is there, but in your syllabus, only voltage divider biasing is mentioned. That third one, I will just give the introduction, that is known as a feedback bias. See, again, suppose a separate resistor is used at the drain with respect to gate, like this. If it is connected over here, don't consider this VGG as well as that R1 and R2. Take again separate resistor, feedback resistor, you can call it as RF, connected to the drain with respect to gate. So you will observe again that resistor and the drop across that resistor, we can utilize it as a gate powering voltage, and the value of that RF will be going to decide the level of VGS, and the level of VGS will be going to decide the position of this operating point on this DC load line. Correct? So all this is nothing but the biasing of MOSFET or biasing of transistor. So in general, what is mean by biasing? In general, biasing means to operate the transistor in the desired region. Already I told this green colored region, it is known as a saturation region, and whenever we have to use that MOSFET as an amplifier, then the selected operating region of the transistor, it should be saturation region. Right? Then the another thing, if we have to use that same MOSFET as a switch, again for a switch there are two states, either open switch or closed switch. Right? If that transistor is to be act as an open switch, that means the MOSFET it should get operate in the cutoff region. That means the applied voltage it should be equals to 0 volt, get to source voltage it should be 0 or less than VT. That transistor it will be going to act as an open switch, or it will be going to act as an open path, and then we can call it as acting as a open switch. Right? Similarly, whenever that transistor, whenever we are expecting it should act as a closed switch, that means it should get force directly from its cutoff region to ohmic region. Then and then the respective voltage drop across that transistor, it will be very, very small, and that is somewhat less than zero point 0.2 volts. Being a on switch, being a closed switch, the voltage drop across that switch, it should be, ideally it is zero, and practically it should be closer to zero or as small as possible to avoid the power loss across that switch, right? And that's why by this DC load line again, you are going to understood one more thing. Whenever that transistor will going to operate in its ohmic region, then the voltage across drain to source, that is VDS, it is very, very small. And that VDS is less than 0.2 volt. That means the voltage drop across the transistor, it is closer to 0 volt. That means it is acting as an ideal closed switch, right? And whenever it is to be operated as an ideally open switch, that means the current flowing through that switch, it should be zero. And when it will be possible, whenever that transistor will going on to work into its cutoff region, correct? And to work it into cutoff region, the applied input voltage, it should be equals to zero, that is get to source voltage, VGS, it should be equals to zero, or it should be less than VT. Then and then it will be going to act as an open switch, right? Now see, if we are expecting that transistor as an on switch, and if that MOSFET is working into saturation region, then what will happen? Whatever current will going on to flow through that switch, being an on switch, there should be a flow of current, right? So remember, even if that transistor is operating into saturation region, it will going on to act as on switch, no problem. But what is the disadvantage being a on switch? If that transistor is operating into saturation, you will observe the voltage drop whenever that transistor operates into this this saturation region. For each curve, you will observe one crossing point with that DC load line. Whenever that VGS is equals to VGS4, that crossing point is over here, and its respective voltage, that is output voltage of this crossing point, it will be greater than 0.2 volt. That means there is a more voltage drop, and that drop is of no use if we are using that transistor as a on switch. Similarly, if that VGS is equals to VGS3, again you will observe that crossing point with that DC load line over here, and again the voltage drop across that transistor, it is almost half of VDD. Similarly, if VGS is equals to VGS2, that through that transistor there will be non-zero current. It will be going to act as a switch, closed switch, but the current through that switch will be very small. That means the voltage drop across that transistor, that will be almost equals to VDD or closer to VDD. And being a closed switch, what I told, being a closed switch, the voltage drop across that transistor, it should be closer to 0 volt or as small as possible. For ideal switch, across closed switch, the voltage drop is 0, and across open switch, it is of applied voltage. So these things you have to remember why we discussed these three different regions of operation of that transistor. First one is ohmic, then saturation, and then cutoff. Ohmic region, it is used being a on switch or closed switch. Saturation region, it is preferred being an amplifier, and cutoff region being a open switch. Now the question is, being an amplifier, see, in the saturation region, at any point you will observe the voltage drop across transistor, that is drain to source, it is sufficiently large, right? Being on switch, it should be 0 or as low as possible. But what I am saying, being an amplifier, the voltage drop across that transistor, it should be very large. Or why that transistor is to be operated into saturation region? Because being an amplifier, whatever input voltage we will be going to apply, how much we are expecting at the output side, being an amplifier, it should be as large as possible, and then we will get the gain of that amplifier as a maximum. Because voltage gain is nothing but what? Output voltage divided by applied input voltage, is it? And being an amplifier, the gain should be as large as possible, right? So if input is our fixed value input signal, sinusoidal signal, the obtained output, it should be as large as possible. And when it will be possible, when that transistor will be going to work into saturation region. And that's why saturation region is known as a amplification region. Ohmic region is known as a closed switch region, and cutoff region is known as a open switch region. So is it clear to all? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.